Namaste India, willkommen zusammen in Deutschland. Thank you for joining our last session of S.H.E Summit 2020 today, a non-profit initiative taken by Indian Entrepreneurs Forum based in Munich, Germany. See Her Empowered is an idea of bringing diverse cohort of Indo-German women entrepreneurs and successful leaders to share their journeys, challenges, and core principles around their business functions with well-seasoned professionals across the globe. I would like to welcome you all to the session on Indian startups and innovation ecosystem by Ishita Agarwal, a program director of Atal Innovation Mission within NITI Aayog. Before we begin our session, I would like to introduce our chairman, Mr. Sanjay Tambe, and invite him to introduce IEF to our participants today. Sanjay is not only a founder of this forum, but a seasoned management consultant with over 25 years of experience in servicing multiple industry sectors like FMCG, IT, telecom, manufacturing, engineering, and financial services. He has decades of experience in due diligence, asset management, and restructuring for MNCs, as well as Mittelstand and family-owned SMEs. He has been a coach, a mentor, and an investor himself in innovative startups from India and Europe in domains like food tech, med tech, healthcare, hospitality, and e-commerce. Welcome you, Sanjay. Could you please introduce IEF to the audience today?
Yes, thank you, Neha. Thank you for this elaborate introduction. Welcome, Ishita ji from India, and welcome all the guests. I'm very happy and glad to have this session completed today. So our final session coming up, which was the last 4 5 days. It has been a fantastic journey to see and experiment, seeing people getting interested in this Indian Entrepreneurs Forum. Indian Entrepreneurs Forum is an organization which was set up in 2009 in Munich with the idea to bring in different Indo-German startups together with the funding diaspora, which is here in Germany, in Europe. And it has now extended to its work to enabler, a platform maker for different startups and ideas which have come into this domain. So a lot of diaspora or expats who are coming here as students or skill sets here in the German industry. They also want to have something which has connection to India, and they want to start some business. So we see ourselves as an enabler and a network platform in collaboration with different entities like the consulates in different states of Germany as well as Europe. For example, collaboration with FICI and collaboration with CII, and of course collaboration with NITI Aayog. So we are trying to collaborate with the Indian entities as well as the local entities as the Chamber of Commerce is here, and create an event platform which enables different verticals which are offered here as events. And this was a series initiated by Neha, who is the moderator of this event, and she's herself a global product manager for Infinite Technologies, as well as the marketing and digital coordinator for this platform, S.H.E See Her Empowered, which is a unique exposition of getting women leaders to talk on this platform and share their experiences with us. Also, she is a student of MBA at Innovation at TU München, which is a very renowned university in Munich. And I think we are very happy to have her here with this initiative. Welcome, Ishitaji, and welcome, Neha. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay, for your kind words. Now, I would also shortly like to introduce our speaker for the day. So Ishita Agarwal has 15 years of experience in the domain of early age startup ecosystems. She has been involved with multidisciplinary responsibilities, including program design and management, policy planning and implementation, developing collaborations, consulting, operations, and monitoring. She is one of the key founding members of the team of Atal Innovation Mission, NITI Aayog, wherein she has been working at the intersection of policy, technology innovation, and entrepreneurship. She has been directly responsible for design and implementation of institution building programs that nurture tech entrepreneurs with a view to democratize innovation and entrepreneurship in India. So during the course of this conversation and dialogue with Ishita ji today, I would like to also encourage our audience to place questions in our chat box that would be taken during the last 15 minutes of the session today. And we would like to directly address those questions to Ishita ji to share her experience on that. With that, I'm extremely grateful to have Ishita ji over with us today and spend an hour despite of her busy schedule and joining hands in this initiative of the S.H.E Summit 2020. Welcome, Ishita ji.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sanjay. And I'm extremely happy to be here and share my thoughts and experiences. Warm welcome to all of you who've logged in on this call and are here wanting to, share our journey. Absolutely delighted to be here. And I do hope that all of you are safe and healthy and very far away from COVID.
Thank you, Shraddha for sharing your words and concern and the first start words with us. Let me directly jump to our dialogue today for the day. I think a lot of startup entrepreneurs might be interested to hear your journeys, etc. To NITI Aayog specifically. So NITI Aayog is actually considered like a big think tank of India, and many people might be unaware of what exactly NITI Aayog is. Would you like to quickly touch upon what NITI Aayog is for the audience today?
Yes, so NITI Aayog has been set up by of course, it's a think tank for the central government of India, and it's think of it like a in-house or a captive consulting company for the central government ministries. We work with a lot of ministries, so we have two basic functions. One is cooperative federalism, where we try and get all the states to work together in cooperation with each other and with the center, because India can move forward only when all the states of India move forward and they improve their performances in a lot of parameters. And the other function that Niti Aayog has is about developing intellectual property in terms of not in terms of like patents and stuff, but in terms of coming up with new initiatives, suggesting new programs which are very very relevant to the current day, to the government of India. So you would have heard of the smart vehicles mission that is sitting at NITI Aayog. The Atal Innovation Mission is housed in NITI Aayog. NITI Aayog recently last year actually came up with a strategy paper on artificial intelligence for India. So all these initiatives are driven by NITI Aayog, and now recently we've also started or taken up the task of monitoring a lot of various initiatives that happen in the country. And we've developed a lot of indices which look at how the various states are performing, and we put out those parameters, the outcome parameters, and the output parameters in the public domain for everyone to know. So that's briefly about NITI Aayog.
Thank you, Shraddha for sharing that. So NITI Aayog, if I'm correct, is headquartered in Delhi, correct?
It is, yes.
And do NITI Aayog also has offices locally in various states? If you would like to also give some insights in it, or we
No,
just centrally
NITI
operate from
Aayog
Delhi?
is just one single building. We
Okay.
are located close to the parliament.
Okay.
And the way NITI Aayog is composed is very interesting. So it was earlier the Planning Commission, and when Mr. Narendra Modi joined as the Prime Minister of the country, he disbanded the Planning Commission and then introduced NITI Aayog, where basically the governing board of NITI Aayog is actually all the chief ministers of states of India, the prime minister. There are certain members of the parliament, and there are certain members of NITI Aayog. And the members of NITI Aayog are actually very eminent personalities in their own fields. So we have Dr. Paul, who has been leading a pediatrician at AIIMS. Professor Ramesh, who's specialist in agriculture. Then we have Dr. Saraswat, who has been the Director General of DRDO, which is a defense research organization in India. So all these people are very accomplished in their own areas, and they are members of NITI Aayog. and the vice chairman of NITI Aayog, the prime minister is actually the chairperson of NITI Aayog, and the vice chairman is the functional head of NITI Aayog.
Thank you for sharing that, Ishita ji. As I introduced also to the audience today, I think everybody would be very excited to hear about the specific mission that you are a part of and you are leading from within NITI Aayog, which is Atal Innovation Mission. I would be glad if you can spend few words in detail about what exactly is this mission, what it encapsulates for the startups and innovation and entrepreneurship for today.
Absolutely. So this is a mission which is housed in NITI Aayog for the single purpose that it is NITI Aayog is an interministerial body. So all the specialists or the officers in NITI Aayog, they are called advisors and not joint secretaries and secretaries that it happens in the other ministries. And that's a reason. The reason is that we look at ourselves as advisors to other ministries. And the reason the Atal Innovation Mission has been set up at NITI Aayog because this is an interministerial body, and the idea is that the mandate that has been given to us is to encourage innovation and entrepreneurship in the country. And the reason that we were not set out in any other ministry which is already working on this mandate is because we wanted to be very, very inclusive. We want to connect the entire ecosystem together. There are various ministries, departments who have different programs on innovation, entrepreneurship, and we want to work with all of them and not just be an independent unit which is working in this area. So it has been set up by the Prime Minister's office at NITI Aayog with a mandate of bringing together all the moving parts on innovation and entrepreneurship and be the umbrella body for innovation in India. We want to go ahead and facilitate collaboration. We want to increase the awareness about entrepreneurship in the country. And eventually, we want to be influencing policy in the areas of innovation and entrepreneurship. So, to be able to do that, how we have started is we have created various programs which are across the continuum of innovation, or which are across the life cycle of innovation, or innovation and a venture actually. So right from the stage where as an innovator you start identifying a problem and then thinking about it and thinking of a solution that could solve this problem. At this stage, or at a very young stage, we've introduced a program called the Atal Tinkering Labs. This program is meant for children, and it's introduced or implemented in more than 5,000 schools across India. It's meant for kids in the from grade 6 to grade 12. And the idea over there is to give them the confidence to become innovators, give them the training that they can become innovators, and give them the platform and the tools so that they can actually innovate. Now, what is typically done over here is we give them the funding, we give schools funding to set up a small lab which has basic tools, a 3D printer, Internet of Things, sensors, wires, breadboards, and you know, so these are very robotic kits. These are very, very simple equipment, very basic equipment which kids can play with, put a few things together, create a machine, create a small robot that can solve a small problem, that can create a very small machine. And the ability to do that gives them that confidence that they can also create solutions, products, and technologies for the larger problems in life as they grow up. And this program is working very beautifully because not just the funding, but more importantly, what we do is we give them the soft skill training, that we give them the training around design thinking, structured problem solving. And a third dimension to this program is also the fact that if we introduced a lot of study modules, especially when the lockdown happened globally and students are not able to go to schools. In such cases, in such a time, we've introduced Tinker from Home modules so that students at home can go to our website, they can download the modules, they can log into some of these websites or platforms that we have enabled for them, and they can learn mobile coding, they can learn about drones. There is a base module for artificial intelligence, there is an advanced module for artificial intelligence, and all these modules have been created at a level that students can understand about it. They can absorb it, they can self-study, absorb it, and they can imbibe all these learnings within themselves, so that as they grow up they can definitely become leaders for the industrial revolution 4.2 that is coming up. And they are not afraid of all these frontier technologies, but they understand what this is and they can use it very well for creating innovations, for creating new products and technologies in the everyday life. So I'll also, I know I've spoken a lot about Atal Tinkering Labs, but this is such an interesting program and it has got the fancy of all the stakeholders. Globally, this is the largest intervention in K-12 education, and we are seeing a lot of early success indicators for this program. I'll also take another 2 minutes and give you some examples of the kind of innovations that we see coming out of ADLs. So a very simple one, when clothes are put out to dry and often it rains and then, someone has to pick the clothes up again. And then when it stops raining, you have to put the clothes out to dry again. And one of the um, girl students who was tired of doing that because her mom was out working and she had to do this again and again, she put a sensor on the clothes line, and whenever the sensor would sense the moisture with the rain coming down, it would roll itself in. And whenever so something so simple, but removing her pain point of going out to have to dry the clothes again and again. Another example that I can give to you is when COVID happened, school children being the creative ones, they realized that touching the doorbell again and again could be a way to spread the infection. And so they put this boy from one of the schools in where we have an ATL. What he did is he put a sensor on the doorbell, so before you're able to touch it, it would start ringing. So these are very very small examples, but just the fact that school kids, sixth grade onwards, are actually doing these innovations and taking care of very small challenges in our everyday life gives us the confidence that when these kids grow up, they will actually become job creators, they will become innovators, and they will create hundreds and hundreds of enterprises and definitely not become job seekers. At least that's a hope we have, and I'm sure that it will happen.
I think that's a very noble initiative, Ishita. You guys are driving and trying to also cultivate innovation and entrepreneurship spirit from the childhood.
Absolutely.
So that's really noble. Um, I see that there is a lot of activities in the tinkering labs that is around technology itself. So is it very technology focused, or it's also diverse in terms of, innovation, for example, in athlete for sports and athletic people or kids who have let's say, liking towards arts and not potentially, for example, science. Um,
Well, yes, frankly speaking, this is focused towards science and technology, but
mhm.
at the same time, there's no limitation. See, science is just a platform. It can be used in sports, it can be used in art, right? In fact, so we do this annual tinkering marathon where we give a set of challenges to students and we ask them to come and create some products, create some projects and showcase them to us, and then we have a jury and there's an evaluation. So the winners of the first tinkering marathon, we are I think on the third marathon right now. The winners of the first marathon were actually awarded by the chief of UNICEF in UN in India. And we have been organizing a lot of boot camps, internships through our industry partners to take these tinkering marathon winners forward, or even the shortlist. So in every batch, they're starting from the first 10 in the first cohort. We now, in the next year, we supported, I think, 50 students, student projects to take them forward. We arranged internships for them. We arranged boot camps through our incubators, which help them refine their projects and help them convert them into products so that they could be taken forward with the aim of commercializing them at an early stage. So we do encourage them, we engage with the kids on a regular basis. There's a lot of training which is also done on the teacher side, who are the innovation coaches. But coming back to your question, these things, the tools that we give to them, they are only at the end of the day, they are only a means to create an innovation. They don't restrict the area. And a few days last year, we had done one of the challenges that we had given in the marathon was about using art to come up with an innovation. And it had shown very beautiful applications had come in. I wish I could show you some pictures here. I don't have them with me right now, but yes, this is not restricted to a particular sector.
Thank you, Shitaji, for the very descriptive answer. I think a lot of people would also be interested because especially in India, the entrepreneurship mindset comes very early, as we see today. Like a lot of people already start, kind of thinking about their own company when they're 25, 26. They graduate soon after their bachelor's. So we also have some people, who have made it to Forbes 30 and the 30 as well. So we should be proud of it. So the question that I have is, what sort of different programs does AIM has for these startups at different stages of the growth, also for the young entrepreneurs out there in India?
Sure. So, like I said, we have programs across the innovation continuum. So, at a very early stage, at the stage of problem identification, at the stage of identifying the gaps that exist around us, we have the Tinkering Labs program. At a slightly mature stage, when a prototype needs to be developed, we've introduced a program called the Atal Community Innovation Centers, where the idea is to be able to take the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in the interiors of the country, penetrate in the nooks and corners where very sophisticated incubators cannot exist because of a lack of an ecosystem. These are the places that will have an advanced tinkering lab or a maker space. At the same time, it will also have some training around what is an entrepreneurship journey all about? How can you create a prototype? How can you get it tested? So on and so forth. We expect students from the polytechnic, farmers, civilians from the rural area, people from the community to come and make use of the community innovation centers and create new products and technologies that they may think is useful for them. When and from the community innovation centers, when the prototypes are created and are ready to go to the next level, at that stage we have the incubation centers. We have supported more than 65 incubation centers already across the length and breadth of the country, focusing on different sectors. May it be agriculture, may it be smart mobility, may it be bio sciences and pharma, and we have incubators focused on AI and other frontier technologies. There are incubators focused on big data, so on and so forth. So, and then of course there are sector agnostic incubators as well. So the incubators will help the startups first, of course, help create a startup and then scale them up to a level that they get the next round of funding. And so these are the three programs we have for creating institutions. Then we also have multiple programs where we are supporting innovation creation through giving grants to the innovators themselves. So these programs we do in the form of challenges. We partner with the ministries of the central government. These ministries give us their challenges that they face in the public service delivery. We put these challenges in the public domain and seek responses. Once we get the responses, we then there's of course an evaluation panel. The idea is that we are able to pilot the solutions that come to us through these challenges with the ministries themselves. To give you an example, the Ministry of Railways had given us a challenge statement that there are a lot of accidents which happen and the trains get sidelined, or the trains get go off the tracks. And so if there is a innovation that can help detect a problem or a crack in the tracks early on so that the train does not meet with an accident. This was a challenge, a live challenge given to us. And then when the applications came in, one of the jury members, who was actually a representative of the Department of Railways, he actually offered a coach, a trained coach to the innovator, to say that, hey, we like your solution, and if you want to try out your solution, I'll arrange for the entire coach to be there with you, of course at our location. But this is the kind of encouragement that we are doing. We are facilitating dialogue between the solution providers and the solution seekers. And the speciality that we bring in, or the facilitation that we bring in, is basically the ability to speak the language of the government as well as the startups. And we are enabling that dialogue because we become the translators in between, and help both the parties talk to each other and engage with each other and see how best both parties can benefit from each other. So one of the challenges that we have is called the Atal New India challenges, where the idea is that we take innovations from prototype stage to deployment stage. It's more like a TRL 5 to TRL 8, 9. On the other hand, very recently, we've also launched the Arise challenges, which is applied research and innovation for small enterprises, which again we do in partnership with the Ministries of India. But here the idea is to be able to take technology from the lab to a concept stage or a prototype stage. So this is like TRL 2 onwards to 5.
Thank you, Ishitaji. That was a lot of great insights,
Funding.
actually. Sorry?
Sorry, I was just saying that those are the funding programs that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we are creating institutions on the ground, and at the same time, we are funding innovators directly also. So it's a
So
two-pronged approach.
you basically fund these
We fund the
progress.
innovators. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. And the next question that I had thinking about is, because, if a startup is coming with, a very impactful idea for the society to you, and there would be millions of, I'll say at least hundreds of startup, approaching NITI Aayog and AIM under these initiatives, for example. But as this is a funding program and there is a pool of money that needs to be allocated to certain pool of ideas to grow, how this selection process works, for example, in AIM, and what different sort of steps do you have in mentorship programs? Because a lot of startups have questions regarding government policies, legislations, which act really as the hurdle in a day-to-day growth in their daily businesses. So where exactly the mentorship from your side also come into that play?
Okay, so your question leads me to one of the programs that I was talking about, which is the Mentor of Change program.
Mm-hmm.
So while we've created these institutions, we've also reached out to the citizens of India and asked them to join hands with us and work with us in improving or contributing towards these programs. So we launched the Mentor of Change program, and we invited individuals to partner with us and become mentors for the tinkering labs, become mentors for the startups that are working with us in through the various programs that we have. And we did an evaluation of the applications that came in. We actually got close to 13,000 applications, and all of these are pro bono. There was some kind of an evaluation, and I think close to 3 to 4,000 mentors have been selected and allocated to work with schools. Some of them are in the same city, and therefore they can go to the schools in their city. But a lot of it is being done remotely because a lot of schools are in the interiors, and spread across villages and talukas. And mentors are largely from the metro cities, and people who would want to give back to the society are at a certain level in their own life cycle. So a lot of this mentoring is done remotely. So that is the Mentor of Change program. So, and we also have mentors who work exclusively with startups because that's their area of focus or their area of interest. So we've connected them with our incubators, our ACICs, to be able to work with the startups in the area of their interest. However, to answer the larger question about, you know, uh, how do we see this, and how can a lot of people join? So what we've done so far, the network of institutions that we've created, 5,000 schools already funded, more than 5,000 are ready to be funded in the next quarter now. So we'll have close to 10,000 tinkering labs across India. There'll be close to 70 incubators across India. There'll be close to 24 community innovation centers in different states of India, so on and so forth. We've created, as a first phase of Atal Innovation Mission, we've created an anchor on the ground through these institutions and through the innovators that we are bringing in our network through the challenge programs. Now, in the second phase, what we want to do is we want the entire ecosystem to become collaborative. We want it to become more mature, inclusive, and efficient, and that's what we are working together. And for that, we bring in a lot of industry partnerships. So far, the funding has been coming in from largely from the government, but now we want to have, given that we've piloted the programs, we have made corrections in the programs, we've seen them become successful. At least there are early indicators of success. We now want a lot more private sector participation, and we will reach out to all the private sector folks to join hands with us, contribute to our programs, create their own tinkering labs with our guidelines, create their own incubators with our guidelines, or join hands with the institutions that we have already built, fund a lot of the challenges that we do. And that's how we will take AIM forward and make sure that all the moving parts, different programs in different ministries, in different state innovation councils, different agencies that support innovation and entrepreneurship, they all come together. And any innovator or an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur is able to leverage all the benefits which are out there. And believe me, there are a lot of benefits out there right now in the ecosystem, especially after the clarion call given by the Prime Minister of Startup India and Startup India. This entire sector has got a lot of impetus, and there's no one less than the Prime Minister himself is rooting for any innovator and any entrepreneur. So there is a lot of encouragement available, and no time better than this for doing a startup.
Thank you, Shitaji, for sharing those insights. I also have a follow-up question to that because also, for example, let's say the length and breadth of the grounds that you can work on to kind of grow and mentor these startups are just boundless. Are there any specific focus areas or strategic focus areas that, let's say, at least Government of India gives to NITI Aayog and then NITI Aayog to AIM, for example, to drive those initiatives in? Are there very specific industry sectors, or you guys work in a very open areas for the startups?
So we don't. We are AIM in itself is sector agnostic.
Mhm.
We of course do value some of the government initiatives, and we would want to work in to make sure that those values that the government has or the principles that the government has are in place, and we always encourage them. So if there are incubators, or if there are institutions that support women entrepreneurship, they would be given a preference at the time of selection. We have, for all our programs, we have a very uh, automated, transparent process of selection for the whether it is for the institutions that we fund or whether it is for the innovators that we fund. There are typically uh, the committees for evaluation typically would have technology experts, they would have people from the investment sector, they would have people from the industry who understand that space very well, and not just the government representatives. So that the selection is completely meritorious, professional, and transparent. Um, and there are certain priority areas of the government that we would want to give a focus, that we would want to focus on. So, for example, the Ministry of Defense had come to work with us and launched the IDEX program that we have done. That program focuses only on defense related innovations.
Oh, nice.
Now, right now, we are very soon going to launch challenges in the area of water for clean water for livable cities, that in partnership with an embassy of one of the embassies located in Delhi. But uh, we work with all the government of India initiatives, and we try and support wherever possible and give an impetus to the priority areas of the government. But AIM per se is sector agnostic.
That's actually good to hear, because this was also the confusion I had myself. Um, NITI Aayog and AIM itself is such a big incubation center, and it's very well known and widespread in India. I'm definitely sure that a lot of international incubation centers might approach you for partnerships and strengthen the, let's say, cross-country economic ties, leveraging the know-how, leveraging your power to influence the government policies as well. What's your take on that?
Well, yes, collaboration is the way today, right? So we do look forward to have as many partnerships as possible. And it works two ways. One is we are able to pass on those partnerships to all our beneficiaries. So we have signed up with, most of the MNCs working in India are our partners today. We have close to 25, 30 partners who work very closely with us. And when I say with us, they are actually working with our beneficiaries, whether it is the ATLs, whether it is helping us with the teacher training programs, whether it is helping us in developing the study modules, whether it is providing pilot facilities to the startups or giving them pilot projects. So yes, a lot of people do approach us for partnerships. In fact, my full-time role right now at Atal Innovation Mission is about creating a lot of collaborations and bringing in all the strengths that I can to the table for the sake of the innovators that we work with, and for the sake of these institutions that we work with. Um, we have we work with a lot of embassies. So in partnership with the Embassy of Sweden, Business Sweden, we have launched um, a platform for healthcare innovations, which is where AIMS is also a partner over there. Then, like I just mentioned, the water challenges are being launched in partnership with the Embassy of Denmark. We've launched a lot of challenges, open innovation challenges with Business Sweden earlier as well, and with the government of Australia, we are working on um, challenges around the circular economy. They are in fact going on right now. So these are challenges, but there are also MNCs who, corporate sector who come to us, and they uh, they help through their CSR, or provide us with their products and technologies for our AIM beneficiaries. So we are absolutely happy to join hands with any other corporate sector, government sectors, foundations, or incubators and accelerators who want to work with us, and it'll benefit both ways. We can give them access to the Indian market through our network of institutions and give them an understanding of the Indian ecosystem, and at the same time they can bring their strength to the table for the sake of the innovators in India. Sorry.
So that works basically. The vision is to work bi-directionally cross-border. So not only
Absolutely.
bringing the Indian startups to solve the international problems with their innovative solutions, but also kind of having the white spots in India filled through, let's say, the innovation that is happening abroad, right? So it facilitates both directions, correct?
Absolutely, that is a beautiful articulation, Neha. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. I have another question, just a curious question, because as we see also, the startups ecosystem growing, and it has become like a culture. Incubation in itself has also become like a culture. In terms of so many different incubation centers, we also know like T-Hub in Telangana, then we have Atal Innovation. So there are multiple incubation centers also working for acceleration growth and development of these startup communities. So within India, I understood from you now that you also join hands, or you are open to join hands correctly with these incubation centers in principle. And what sort of current, let's say, USPs or challenges together that you see in the Indian market or Indian ecosystem that you can solve together, for example, by unifying these forces?
um, well, so on that note, we support T-Hub, by the way. So we are supporting, we are funding them to set up a incubation center which is focused on AI and supporting startups that use AI primarily for any of the solutions. Um, See, at the risk of repeating myself, collaboration is the key today, and that's a way to move forward. So, by joining forces with all the incubators and accelerators, and we are actually a small part from the entire portfolio of about 500 plus incubators that are supported by the government of India through different ministries. If all of them can join hands, they will be able to add so much more value and so much more support to all the innovators. And by the way, startups are actually leveraging on the facilities available at different incubators. So we have startups that are co-incubated in multiple incubators, because at one incubator they can use the lab, which is state of art, and at the other incubator they can find a more suitable mentor network available, while the third incubator can give them seed funding. So it again, it's like a win-win, because the incubators benefit by having a good portfolio of incubatees, and at the same time the startups are able to get the maximum value. So we encourage all the time. We encourage our incubators to work collaboratively, and we have started seeing that happen. Thankfully, after repeating the message again and again to our incubator portfolio for so long, they've finally started joining hands with each other. So, an IIM Bangalore incubator, NSR Cell, which has a program focused on women entrepreneurs, works with AIC Banasthali, which is located in Tonk, about 1.5 hours from Jaipur, in the middle of nowhere, literally. Uh, which is also, by the way, only women incubator, but they all both work together for the empowerment of women and encouraging more and more women entrepreneurs in the country. So it's happening. Similarly, Banasthali Vidyapeeth, the women incubator located in Tonk, has tied up with another biotech-based incubator, C-Camp in Bangalore, for having more women in STEM, biotech based entrepreneurs coming out of their incubator. So, very small steps are being taken, but we do finally see incubators working with each other, and we encourage it to the extent possible.
Thank you, Shitaji, for sharing very useful insights there. From my side, actually, I just have now last question, then we'll jump to the questions from the audience. So I would be also very interested to hear from you, because you told about such interesting programs and initiatives that have been part under the umbrella of AIM. What sort of next futuristic plans, or let's say visions, do you have, for example, new initiatives, etc., that you would like to introduce, by yourself, or it's your wish to introduce that in AIM to make it even more impactful for the society, for the entrepreneur world?
That's a good question. So, like I said, so the phase one for AIM was creating these anchors in the ground, or creating this network of institutions. And in the next phase, we'd like to link up all the moving parts to make sure that the entire ecosystem is very. We are already the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, but we have to become the first. We have to become the largest ecosystem. We also have to become, as a country, we need to become, we missed the bus for the last revolution, industrial revolution. We should not be, and we cannot miss it for the industry 4.0 now. And that's where, um, with the current pandemic hitting globally, the importance of innovation and entrepreneurship has only increased, for sure. And this is the best time to actually come up with innovations. There were so many programs which were launched globally, not just in India, encouraging innovations which are related to COVID, and for which had anything to do with solutions relating to not just the healthcare segment, but also the parallel challenges that happen in the world, like deliveries, last mile deliveries, like ed tech companies trying to provide education at home. So at Atal Innovation Mission, we want to make sure that we are leveraging upon the latest technologies to be able to make the innovation ecosystem friendlier, more inclusive, more efficient, and to be able to provide all the incentives possible for encouraging more and more innovation to come out of the country to be able to solve some of the socioeconomic challenges that are unique to India. No one from outside is going to come and solve our own challenges. We have to work on them ourselves. And we have to become Atmanirbhar, like very rightly called by the Prime Minister. And we intend to work to make sure that that happens.
Very noble thought, Ashita, again. A quick question, because you were also mentioning a lot about working with Denmark, Sweden. Are there also activities running with Germany as of today? Some discussions with NITI Aayog slash AIM?
Yes, we had initiated a dialogue with GINSEP, but I'm not sure. But at some point of time, the ball got dropped. We will need to pick up the threads again, and of course, we are working with IEF to try and create a bridge between the India and the German startups. So
Great.
happy to explore any any partnership or any support that may be required by startups that want to come to India. Happy to facilitate our network to those startups in case there are any Indian startups that are on this panel right now and want to, of course, leverage upon the IEF services. I'm sure that they'll reach out to you.
We would also like to extend that help to the also the participants and globally whoever come into the vicinity and approach us for the help here. So of course we are happy to connect and yeah, make use of this tie-up and platform to bring the right contacts and the network to also help them attain the vision, these new young bidding entrepreneurs. I have few questions in the chat box, so I would like to pick them one to one, and I think the people would be also very interested to kind of hear your opinion on that. The first one is, how do the schools become part of Atal Innovation Mission, and is there a qualification criteria for those schools? I think this is pertaining to your talk on tinkering labs.
Yes, there is. So you can visit our website aim.gov.in, and it has the guidelines for all the programs that we have there. All our programs have an online application form, and then there is an evaluation process. The broad parameters for the evaluation process are also put there in the public domain. There are basic qualifying criteria. So for a school, I think it was 1,500 square feet of space, the availability of playground, computer lab in place, science and maths teacher to be present in the school, so on and so forth. There are some basic qualifying criteria, eligibility criteria, but if you have all those check boxes ticked, then you can apply for a tinkering lab. And then there is an evaluation process based on which the school is selected for setting up a tinkering lab.
And these schools can be private schools or government schools, for example.
Yes, the 5,000 schools that I mentioned that have already been funded, they are across the continent. So we have government schools, public schools, private schools, government aided schools, different boards, state boards, central board. IB schools as well. Some of them are very large chains, renowned schools like the DPS or the Amity chain of schools. So some of them, and about 70% of them have girl students, either only girl schools or they are co-ed schools. But all kinds of schools are included as a part of the 5,000 that we have. There are schools in Jammu and Kashmir that have ADLs. There are schools in Andaman and Nicobar Islands as well.
Thank you, Ishitaji, for sharing that. Another question that I have is, let's say when you're talking about startups being incubated within the ecosystem, under the mentorship program, are you also providing or let's say searching for these startups for angel funding, for example, or venture capitalists or investors as well, and trying to do matchmaking?
We don't do that ourselves, but
Mm-hmm.
we definitely do keep inviting investors to our network to speak with the startups we have in our network to be able to create those bridges themselves. We are going to try and bring more and more partnerships to the AIM family so that these kind of relationships can happen organically in all our incubators, start building a network of investors. But that's a function, we believe, of the institutions we've created and not ourselves. We only facilitate the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We hold webinars with investors, and we do create partnerships with investors and take them on to our beneficiaries. But yes, we don't do the matchmaking ourselves.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Ishita ji. Can you please unmute Nisha? She has a question she would like to directly ask to Ms. Ishita ji. Nisha's PC.
Thanks, Neha. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hi, Nisha.
Thanks. Hi. Thanks, Ishita. I was really listening to your, inputs and very, very helpful. I have one question that I've been entrepreneur myself from last 9 years, and this year I started another venture where I realized that in my 9 years of journey as a woman entrepreneur, raising finance is a very, very difficult task, especially for women-led ventures. So this year I started a platform called Have Her is Venture Evangelist, where we are working with micro entrepreneurs. It's completely women led, and we are really trying to tie up with government organizations who are working to empower these women who are at idea level, or at least at 1 or 2 years of operation, but are very, very micro level. So, but do Atal aims also working towards such kind of entrepreneurs in startup ecosystem? And is there any opportunity to collaborate with people like us who are trying to do something in this space?
Sure, Nisha. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your venture and the fact that you're trying to do something in the women entrepreneurship space, adding to the basic principle of women empowerment. We will definitely love to support you and connect you with the incubators that we have who are working with the women entrepreneurs on field. So we don't work
Okay.
directly. You would have also heard of Startup India initiative in India. They are
Yes.
the folks
Yes.
who work directly with startups uh,
Mm-hmm.
and provide incentives to startups and create policies around startups. The way AIM is different from Startup India is the fact that we are trying to create the institution, creating the ecosystem and the institutions for enabling startups and their journey. So if you send an email to me, I will be happy to send your email out to the portfolio of 68 incubators that we have.
Nisha, we can help you connect with Ishita
Sure.
ji
Sure.
directly.
And I assume there would be. Thanks. Thanks, Neha. Really appreciate your help. Thanks, Ishita.
Anything more, Nisha, from your side? Or
I have a lot of questions. I don't know. I think
or you
it's
can
not
please, if
appropriate.
you have something, go ahead. Maybe we can take one more question.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Ishita, one more question. You were talking about lot of schemes and all. And honestly speaking, when I talk to these women entrepreneurs, I can give you those data also. They say that when they actually go and try to take help of these schemes, they are told that they're not eligible or they have to do so many things. And it really demotivates them. So, do we have any awareness program where these women, and I'm not talking only from Bangalore, even from rural areas of Bangalore, how do you create awareness about these schemes?
That's a very
Sure.
good question.
Thank
Sure.
you.
So, NITI Aayog has also launched about 2 years back a women entrepreneurship platform. And what they do is they are just creating awareness on the various incentives, schemes, programs that are there for women entrepreneurs in the country. I will connect you with the Women Entrepreneurship Platform as well. You can go
Sure.
onto the website. You can read about the various schemes that are there. There are a lot of partners who are also offering certain incentives for, especially for women entrepreneurs only, exclusive to NITI Aayog. And if you ask these women to register as participants on this platform, they will keep getting emails on around the schemes and programs and programs that are meant for women entrepreneurs. So that can be done. There's no
Okay.
one specific place because we are such a huge country and there is such a large offering. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this a very collaborative place.
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Ishita.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Nisha, and thank you, Shitaji, for your very concise answers to the questions. With that, actually, I would like to extend my gratitude to Ishitaji today for joining with us for this 1 hour session today, despite of a busy schedule, and sharing extremely great insights about AIM, NITI Aayog, and her journey and her initiatives as a women leader from within, making a change for the greater good of the country. On the closing notes, I would like to also thank all our 5 speakers for the S.H.E Summit 2020: Claudia Mosca, founder of Briefy Works; Dimple Jangra, founder of Prana Healthcare; Pallavi Mishra, country head FICCI Germany; Juliane Fromter, program director of Next Step India in German Accelerator; and Ishita Ji herself as a program director of AIM, who have joined forces with us and shared immensely inspiring stories of their professional journeys with us today. As said, leadership is really about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that the impact lasts in your absence. I am extremely glad to have also gotten in touch with you all in person, having to know you and also understand your journey very closely. So, thank you. A huge round of applause for you guys. You really make a difference for our nation on the global grounds. And whatever little we can do from this organization and forum with a very small team, we are happy to do for the voices from India trying to get to Germany and the voices from Germany trying to expand to India.
Thank you, Neha, for inviting me, and thank you, IEF and Sanjay ji, for inviting me. Um, we are trying to do our best to make sure that we are able to deliver the mandate that has been given to us by the Prime Minister's office, and happy to collaborate to the extent possible to make this happen, not only for the Indian startups but the startups worldwide for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shitaji. With that, I'm
Mm.
sure that we had something to take back to us as our thought points today after all these great discussions. And I would like to now again give the stage back to our chairman, Sanjay Tambe, for sharing some closing words on the 5 day session today.
Thanks, Neha. Thank you, Shitaji. It has been really wonderful listening to you. It was so many different insights which I was not aware of, and as I think from the website you can collect a lot of information, but to get it personally from you, it's a completely different thing, and it motivates not only me but also motivates, I guess, the startups which are also interested, or people who are entrepreneurs from India who are interested, and that is actually giving me the feeling that we are achieving our aim in the last 4 or 5 days. We have seen already from the other speakers, and what we got as a response from the audience which was here, and from different connects which we got through LinkedIn, we understood that yes, this is right time to have such an activity initiated. So thanks to all the team, Neha, and everyone who actually supported in getting this event. done, first of all, as a woman entrepreneurship. And it has been a fantastic 5-day week. We would repeat this very soon again with a different subject, maybe with a different stream, and also with interesting speakers like you, Ishita ji, and the last 4 days. So I would suggest that whatever questions, responses, inspiration you have got, and you want to share a feedback with us, please visit the website ief-germany.com, or find us on LinkedIn with the same name, Indian Entrepreneurs Forum. It's not only for Indians, it's in general a forum for all kinds of startups and innovators who want to run into an entrepreneurship and do something in life which will enable themselves to become sustainable business wise, as well as get network to all such personalities who are already working in this domain. And there is a lot of help available, as you heard from Ishitaji today, directly from Prime Minister's office, as well as in Germany. And we see a lot of startup activity happening in everywhere. Also in Munich, it's a big hub for startups, not only in mobility, automobiles, but in all different sectors. And we are part of it. I like it very much that we are having that interest also from India, and we can support that definitely. So, with this closing remarks, I would again express my gratitude in saying thank you to all of you. Thank you, Ishita ji, and thank you to my team who are here. I'll take a group photo since we are all together. Um, okay. All right. So, thank you. Have a good time. Be safe and be healthy. See you soon again. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Thank you for all the participants. Great day. Bye.